Which begs the question, what are the four players that the Indiana Fever should core to make sure that no team can touch them heading into the expansion draft? Remember, you just lose these players straight up. You don't get anything back for the players. They're gone. We didn't get anything for Temi, did we? No, exactly.
The entire arena went silent when Caitlin Clark walked onto the court, not because of nerves, but because everyone knew something explosive was about to unfold. Within seconds, the rookie sensation turned every doubter into a believer. Cameras zoomed in as she stared down the defense, her eyes locked like she'd been waiting her whole life for this exact moment. This wasn't just another WNBA game. This was a statement, a warning, and a spark that would ignite a storm across women's basketball. Viewers couldn't blink, and every highlight that followed proved one thing. Caitlin Clark isn't here to join the league, she's here to redefine it.
Feel to be back in Las Vegas?
It feels great to be back, but I'm going to pivot to something else. Sally, is that cool?
Yes.
All right. On behalf of my teammates and every member of our union, I want to be clear. We remain committed to negotiating the next CBA with the league and the teams in good faith and privately. We know that our league is growing, and we believe that it's imperative that our CBA reflects the growth that we've experienced in the league and that players should be seeing part of those earnings. And so I am excited to be back here, but unfortunately there are more pressing things going on with our league.
But what happened next shocked even her biggest fans. In the third quarter, Clark unleashed a crossover so cold it froze the entire defense, and the clip went viral within minutes. Social media exploded, with fans calling it the moment the league changed forever. Yet beneath the cheers, tension brewed. Opposing players grew frustrated, commentators debated whether the WNBA was ready for her impact, and every network replayed that single move like it was history in motion. The game was no longer just competition, it was personal.
I believe it'll happen. There is a possibility that Kelsey Mitchell may take her talents elsewhere, and we need to be fully prepped and ready to go to continue to build this roster out around Caitlin.
Halfway through the fourth, the intensity hit new levels. Clark's every step drew roars from the crowd, but it also drew harder fouls, tighter defense, and sharper words from rivals who didn't like the spotlight shifting her way. Yet instead of backing down, she leaned in, delivering a deep three that silenced everyone once again. That single shot wasn't just a bucket, it was a message, the kind that said, "You can hit me, you can doubt me, but you can't stop me." Fans erupted, and even her critics had to admit they were witnessing the rise of a generational force.
Averaged 20.2 points per game last season, 3.2 assists for somebody who never passes the ball, from what I'm told. She averaged over 3 assists last year. She never passes the ball. You'd think she'd average 1.5, 1.2. 3.2 assists for Kelsey Money Mitch, and shot nearly 40% from three, 39% from the three-point line for Kelsey Mitchell last year. When her and Caitlin Clark are in the lineup together, lethal, deadly.
When the final buzzer sounded, Caitlin Clark didn't celebrate wildly. She just smiled, knowing the world had already taken notice. Interviews flooded in, endorsement offers piled up, and highlight reels broke every trending chart. But behind that calm expression was fire, the kind that only legends carry. As she walked off the court, cameras captured the look of a woman rewriting history one game at a time. And for anyone who still doubted her, this was just the beginning. The Caitlin Clark era had officially begun, but the storm in Indiana didn't stop at player exits. It was only beginning. Inside the Fever's training facility, sources describe an atmosphere that feels more like a reality show reunion than a professional locker room. Tension, side-eyes, and whispered conversations fill the halls. Caitlin Clark, who once walked in every morning smiling, now keeps her headphones on, avoiding the chaos that swirls around her. "It's like everyone waiting for the next explosion," one insider said, and that explosion. It might already be ticking. Midway through the offseason, a leaked audio clip sent social media into flames. A frustrated assistant coach allegedly vented about the front office circus, claiming management had no plan, no direction, and no respect for the players. Within minutes, the clip hit X, formerly Twitter, and fans turned the phrase "no direction" into a viral hashtag. No Direction Fever trended for 48 hours straight, painting the franchise as an organization spiraling out of control. ESPN hosts debated it live on air. Was this a team rebuilding or self-destructing in real time? The backlash hit hard. Season ticket holders demanded answers. Comment sections filled with fury. And in the middle of it all stood Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, now surrounded by chaos she never asked for. Every camera, every microphone, every headline, they all pointed at her. How long before she says enough? How long before the most valuable player in women's basketball realizes her loyalty is being tested by incompetence? Then came the breaking point. Reports surfaced that Indiana had missed out on two major free agent targets, veterans who publicly praised Clark and wanted to play beside her. Both ended up signing elsewhere after communication delays from the Fever's front office. Translation: nobody picked up the phone, and when Clark heard about it, insiders say she was furious. For the first time, her usually calm demeanor cracked. "She's not here to babysit bad management," one teammate told reporters anonymously. "She came here to win." Meanwhile, the league office was watching closely. Caitlin Clark isn't just any athlete, she's the WNBA's ticket to mainstream expansion. Viewership, ticket sales, sponsorships, all of it skyrocketed because of her. If Indiana continues to fumble the bag, it's not just a team issue, it's a league crisis. Imagine the optics if the league's biggest star gets stuck in a losing franchise and asks out. It would be a PR earthquake, one that could shake the entire foundation of women's basketball. The Fever's management, however, seems unfazed, or perhaps frozen. General Manager Lynn Dunn has been eerily silent, offering only cryptic statements like, "We have a plan, trust the process." But fans don't want blind trust. They want results. They want a roster. They want wins. And as every other franchise loads up with talent, Indiana sits still, clinging to buzzwords while the clock keeps ticking. Midway through training camp, disaster struck again. A video leaked showing a heated exchange between two players, reportedly over Clark's role in the offense. The clip spread like wildfire. Commentators framed it as jealousy meets pressure. Whether that's true or not doesn't even matter, perception became reality. Fans saw dysfunction, and that image is nearly impossible to erase once it's out there, here, where the drama hits cinematic levels. Remember Kelsey Mitchell, the sharpshooter rumored to be on the trade block? Sources now claim she's requested a trade outright. The veteran who once called Indiana home reportedly told staff she wants a fresh start, somewhere that actually values its players. If that trade happens, it would send shockwaves through the entire league. Imagine headlines reading, "Fever lose locker room leader amid chaos." It's the kind of headline that kills morale and fan hope in a single blow. And yet, Caitlin Clark stays silent. No tweets, no interviews, no cryptic posts. Just work. She's showing up, shooting, grinding, the same intensity that made her a college legend now wrapped in quiet frustration. Those close to her say she's laser-focused, but the fire in her eyes looks different. It's not joy anymore, it's defiance. She's carrying not just a franchise, but a league, while the people around her keep fumbling the playbook. What if Caitlin Clark is already planning her next move? Because here's the shocking rumor insiders can't stop whispering. Several powerhouse franchises, including the Las Vegas Aces and New York Liberty, are monitoring the situation closely. Translation: they're preparing for the impossible, a world where Caitlin Clark becomes available. The idea alone sends chills through the league. One wrong move from Indiana, one more season of chaos, and Clark could walk into any contender's locker room and change basketball forever. Meanwhile, sponsors are growing restless. Major corporate partners who poured millions into the Fever brand after Clark's arrival are quietly questioning the direction. If the team's image collapses, so does their investment. And that's where the pressure becomes unbearable. Because when money starts shaking, phones start ringing, and excuses stop working. Inside the organization, the tension has reached a boiling point. Staff members describe sleepless nights and frantic meetings. One anonymous employee told local media, "Every day feels like we're one headline away from disaster." Even coach Christie Sides, once the picture of composure, looked visibly drained during her last press conference. Her words, "We're still building, trust us," sounded more like a plea than confidence. And yet, through all the dysfunction, the fans still show up. They pack the arena, waving signs that red protect Caitlyn and fix the fever. They cheer like their voices can drown out the noise. That passion, that energy, it's what's keeping this franchise alive. But how long can fans keep believing when management keeps breaking their trust? As the season approaches, Indiana faces an identity crisis. Are they a young team with growing pains, or a sinking ship pretending to rebuild? The answer might come sooner than anyone expects. Because if the first 10 games of the season don't show real improvement, if Clark keeps getting fouled, if the chemistry keeps breaking, if the leadership keeps vanishing, the calls for heads to roll will be deafening. What happens if the unthinkable occurs? Caitlyn Clark demands out. Imagine that moment. Reporters swarm, microphones flash, and Clark calmly says, "I gave them everything." It would be the biggest story in WNBA history. Sponsors would scramble, rivals would salivate, and Indiana would go down as the team that lost the golden child of basketball. It's a nightmare scenario, and yet every decision the Fever make seems to be pushing them closer to that edge. But here's the twist. Maybe, just maybe, this chaos becomes the fire that forges something legendary. Maybe Clark takes this disaster and turns it into dominance. The greats always do. What if this season, instead of breaking her, builds her into the fiercest competitor the WNBA has ever seen? If she channels the betrayal, the noise, and the pressure into performance, dropping 40-point nights while the world watches, she could redefine what it means to lead. Still, the ball is in Indiana's court, literally and figuratively. They can either rebuild smartly, surround Clark with the protection and leadership she deserves, and restore faith in the franchise, or they can keep fumbling until their star walks away, leaving only regret behind. The next few weeks will decide which headline defines them. Fever rise from chaos, or Clark walks, franchise implodes. As that final buzzer sounds on another messy offseason, one truth echoes through every arena, every sports desk, every fan forum. You can't build greatness on confusion. Either the Indiana Fever learn that now, or they'll spend the next decade wishing they had. So what do you think, fans? Is this the calm before the miracle comeback, or the countdown to collapse? Drop your theory in the comments, and don't forget, this story's just getting started.